Thinking Aloud. Conversations on the leading edge of knowledge and discovery with psychologist Jeffrey Mishlove.
If space-time itself is a creation of consciousness, yeah, you know, on my computer screens, I've got Hubble Deep Space Telescope images, and they look like stars, but they are, in fact, galaxies. And you realize we're talking about trillions of planets, potentially, that all of this is a construction of consciousness, and that there is a unity of consciousness. We live in a matrix of consciousness. We know from, for instance, the therapeutic intention research that it is possible for the intention of one organism to have a very significant, measurable, objectively measurable effect on the well-being, good or ill, of another organism. And you begin to realize that we are in a matrix of life.
A matrix that extends beyond the biological.
Yes, and that may extend to some great unity of which we only have the dimmest appreciation. That we are not isolated within our bodies, that we are in fact a part of some much greater plan. You know, I am reminded when I read these papers often of people who become addicted to video games and who really live their life through their avatars.
Yeah.
I was in Japan and they took me, I wanted to see one, and the people that were with me, the Japanese businessmen, took me to what they called a coffin hotel. At least I think that's the right translation, which is basically, a hotel is hardly the right word. It's a kind of 8-foot-long cylinder stacked up with a television and with a common bathroom, and young men particularly live in these things, and they spend most of their time in virtual reality, living through their avatar, which they in a world that they create collectively through their conscious intention in the video reality. And I am always, when I think about this business of continuity of consciousness, I wonder, are we all the young men in the coffin hotels living in virtual reality that we think of as reality, but that in fact is a construct of consciousness? And that begins to make you think, what we're really looking at is an information matrix. You know the movie, the Matrix?
Yes.
That's the analogy. I mean, it's not entire, but just as a metaphor. When you look at the screen in the Matrix and the numbers and symbols are coming down the screen, and then it morphs into reality, and you're there, taste, touch, smell.
Well, I think the filmmakers intended you to think of those,
I'm sure
along those lines. They were very philosophical.
I'm sure that's true. And I was talking with a researcher at MIT who posed a very interesting question to me. I went to see their virtual reality laboratory, and he said, you know, we're on the verge of being able to create the full sensorium. That is, the locus of your consciousness would be in the virtual reality, but you would be able to taste, touch, smell, just as you would in your normal physical consciousness. And so he said, if your locus of consciousness is with your avatar and it's a full sensorium, where are you?
Well, I often wonder if birth and death is like after we die, we might wake up and think, oh, that was an interesting movie.
Yes, exactly.